going on, everybody? I'm Jasmine Sherrard, founder of JS Enterprises, a marketing and public relations agency based out of the Hampton Roads area. I'm here with Arnold Bailey, a realtor based out of Hampton Roads. Arnold, tell us, how did you get started in real estate?
Let me see. Well, first I want to just congratulate you, Jazz. You just got your master's, right? In Norfolk State, so bachelor's and master's.
Yes.
So congratulations to you. You know, doing your thing. So, but I got started in 2004. I started out. Let me see. I was driving concrete trucks right out of college. I drove trucks for about 15 years. After about 5 years, I loved driving. I hated the hours. So I started reading real estate books, and I had good credit. So I bought my first rental property.
Okay.
Thought I was going to make some money off it. Thought I was going to make like 10 grand. Ended up, couldn't sell it. So I refinanced it. That was my first rental. Okay. And after that, I bought a couple more properties. And then I realized I knew more about marketing my home than the real estate agents did. So I went on here and got licensed. So it's been about 15 years.
Wow. And just being somewhat of a vet in this industry and us coming out of, I guess what we can say is a pandemic. We're still in it, but just prior to the pandemic and now, what are some differences you've seen in the real estate market and the different aspects of it, changes, or the pros and cons that you've seen so far?
Well, from the pandemic, so let me see. I've been in this business for 15 years. Because of the pandemic, it's been a part of the market that I've never seen. I have never seen such low inventory for home sellers. So that's been the main thing. Whether, a lot of people when they sell their homes, they're either downgrading or upgrading. So I don't know if home sellers look at, I guess the pandemic just made a lot of people afraid.
Okay.
They didn't want people coming in their houses doing walkthroughs or home inspections or open houses and things like that. So that's been the main thing. So it's been a low supply of houses, but interest rates are historically really, really low. So you still have a lot of buyers in the market. So it's basic economics. It's a low supply of houses, but a high demand. So houses have actually appreciated.
Wow.
About 20%. I think the Wall Street Journal reported they appreciated 20% in the past year.
Wow.
So that's the main thing I've seen from the pandemic. It's a low supply of houses on the market.
So in a perfect world, let's just say the pandemic never happened. What should buyers look for in the perfect interest rate? Let's just say this pandemic never happened. The interest rates never went as low as they did. What is the perfect interest rate in a perfect world?
Well, this is the perfect interest rate in a perfect world. So let's see. So I think in the Reagan years, probably before you was born, I might have been. I was a baby. But in the Reagan years, I think interest rates were like at 12, 13%. Right.
Wow.
I purchased my home about 15 years ago at a 6% interest rate.
Okay.
And at that time, and that's right when I got licensed, and at that time when I was talking to my clients, I was like, interest rates are really low at 6%. So at 3% and under, like, they're really cheap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let me give you the scenario. So, all right, so like I said, houses have appreciated 20% in the past year. So if you were to buy a $200,000 home at a 6% interest rate,
okay,
and compare that to a $240,000 home at a 3% interest rate, you'll end up paying less. Even though the house is more, you'll end up paying less with a lower interest rate.
Got it.
So interest rates are still low. I mean, they were low pre-pandemic, but after the pandemic, they just kept interest rates low because that's how the Fed, that's how they help keep the economy stimulated. So
yeah.
So
let's talk about financing a home. What are some loans that, especially people in my generation, could benefit and not put themselves in too much debt? What are some good loans out here that they could take advantage of?
Well, the best loan is the FHA loan. If you're not military, you have the FHA loan and the VA loan, right? So the FHA, Federal Housing Administration, is backed by HUD, the Housing Urban Development. And the FHA loan is for first-time home buyers.
Okay.
And first-time home buyers doesn't necessarily mean it's your first home. It means that you haven't owned a home in the past 3 years.
Okay.
So a conventional loan, you're putting 10 to 20% down, right, to purchase a home. So just to keep the numbers simple, you buying a $100,000 home, conventional loan, you're putting $10,000 or $20,000 down. FHA loan, you only have to put 3.5% down, right? So that's $3,500. And they do have grants where they can get that lower. So FHA is pretty much the best thing, and that's pre-pandemic. I've done most of my loans like that. I like to specialize with first-time home buyers.
Okay.
I like to help people leverage themselves in the homes. And then the VA loan is for the veterans. So if you're active duty military or if you've retired with an honorable discharge, the VA is the best thing going for home buyers because you don't have to put any money down. It's 0%. You put no money down. And you can have the seller pay all of your closing costs. So the FHA loan, I think the seller is only allowed to pay 3% of your closing costs. Okay. VA loan, they can pay all of your closing costs. So, so yeah, FHA loan is you can get into a house with as little money down, and you can have the seller pay 3% of your closing costs.
Wow, and that's amazing, especially if you are a first time home buyer. You have these different options that you could take advantage of, and you started talking about that closing cost. Take us through that home buying process, because I think as things that I've noticed throughout the pandemic is that it's so many different myths and just so many different people that think they are experts in this field. So talk about that process and those steps to buying your first home.
Well, the first thing you need to do when you're looking to purchase a home is you need to find out what you qualify for, right? So you're going to sit down with a lender. They're going to pull your credit. They're going to look at your credit score, of course. They're going to look at your income, and they'll say, based off your credit report and your income, this is how much you qualify for. Okay. And so then you just choose, and then they'll give you an estimate of what your payments are going to be. So if you're comfortable with your payments at that's what you shop for. If you want your payments a little less, you shop for a house a little cheaper than that. And then just get with a realtor or a real estate agent and, have them show you the houses. So,
So that closing aspect of the process, from speaking with people that are first-time home buyers, they talk about all this. The closing is just the most tedious part. What makes that part of the process so complex and so difficult?
Yeah, so when you first go look for a home, you get a pre-qual letter, a pre-qualification letter from a lender, right? Like I said, it's real simple. They check your credit and they check your income. Now, when it's time to get pre-approved, right? And like when you first sit down with a lender, they gather all your information. Then they send it to underwriting for that underwriting to approve it. So that's when you have to bring in your tax returns. And that's when you have to bring in copies of your bank statements. And lenders have to document all of your income. So everything that shows up on your bank statement, if you babysit for extra money and you make $200 every other week and you get paid cash and a lender sees that $200 is going into your account, they're going to need documentation. They're going to say, where's the $200 come from? They're going to need it. They might need a letter from the person that pays you to prove it. So a lot of times, you might come, you might go to your lender's office and give them all the documentation, right? Yeah. And then a lot of times, once the lender starts processing your loan, they have assistants that might call you and say, well, we need this or we need that. So it can get kind of frustrating if you're not aware of the process, but that's the most important part and the hardest part of purchasing a home is just documenting
That
everything.
income.
So, yep.
So going into that, let's talk about the myths of the real estate industry. The first time purchasing process. Everyone, social media talks about, well, I rather buy a house than rent, or renting is not as beneficial as, paying a mortgage. So how do you feel about that? That renting a condo or a home or an apartment versus buying a house, because some people are just not ready for that yet. So
Right.
what is your advice to those people who are kind of like in between that?
Right. Well, owning real estate is a way to build wealth, right? So when you rent, so I'm a property manager. I own rental properties, and I manage properties for people as well. So when you rent, right, you're lucky when you move. You're lucky if you get your safety deposit back, right? You pay $1,000 a month. You paying $12,000 a year to rent, right? You can buy a $200,000 home, and your mortgage is going to be $1,000 a month. And the thing people don't realize is your mortgage interest that you pay, because I'm pretty sure this is a myth. Well, I don't know if it's a myth, but when you first purchase a home, the first few years, if you're paying $1,000 a month, probably $950 that is going towards interest. Right? You pay your interest on the front end, but all that's tax deductible. So when you write your taxes off at the end of the year, you get to deduct your mortgage interest, you get to deduct your property taxes, you get to deduct your homeowner's insurance.
Wow.
So you're renting and you're owning. Both of y'all paying $12,000 a month.
Right.
That owner is building up equity. So each year you're paying down the mortgage, right? So like I said, if you're renting and you move, you lucky if you get your safety deposit back. Let's say you live someplace 3 to 5 years. When you sell it, on average, homes appreciate, and you've already paid down some of that mortgage. So you're gonna make money when you sell your home. So just from a short term investment process is beneficial. But then you can get a 15-year mortgage and pay your home off in 15 years.
Yeah.
Or you can just be smart with your money and make extra payments and pay your house down. You can't be owning. I mean, once you own something, and this is something that I live by. Once you own something, most people spend the first 2 weeks of their income just to pay where you live. So just imagine if you're disciplined enough to pay something off, and then the rest of your money gets to go to discretionary income. I mean, because I like going on vacations.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying?
Honestly.
I mean, I like nice things. I got a wife that likes nice things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's it. But I understand too, when you're first starting out, or if you're only going to be in a place for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
If you only plan on living in a certain area for 1 or 2 years, it's probably best to rent. Because it takes you a while to build up equity. And I mean, there are ways to sell your home yourself, but 9 times out of 10, you want a realtor to do all that work, so you are going to have to pay a commission. So you do have to, just think about all that. So, but yeah, there's so many benefits to owning as opposed to, to renting. Yeah.
And I think about it, because I've thought about purchasing a home at this age. Obviously, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of discipline, financial discipline. Let's talk about that debt to income ratio. What are some things that you can give to the people? What are some tidbits about that you can give to the people?
Well, debt to income is just the lenders look at, out of the money that you make, they only want a certain percentage of your income to go towards debt. So they're going to figure out what your house payment is going to be, your car payment, like I said, discretionary income, and it's a percentage. So they usually want it between like 40 and 50%.
Okay.
They want to make sure you have enough income to pay your debts and to live.
Gotcha.
Right. So that's basically what that is.
Okay. So have you ever seen a difference in, because we're based out of Virginia, everybody always say, what we pay here, I can pay $300 less in Texas. Let's talk about how the difference between purchasing a home on the East Coast and down south? And obviously, it would probably be that that income to that living ratio to income ratio. Let's kind of dig into that.
Well, that's very true. Real estate is all local. It's all local. It depends on what region. So, you know, you can go to New York and get a 2-bedroom, 700 square foot home and pay $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month. Yeah, I mean, I just visited Texas recently. If you know Texas, North Carolina, a lot of those southern states, you know, you can get twice the home for the same amount of money sometimes that you can get here.
Yeah.
So real estate is all regional.
Gotcha.
Each market, each area is totally different. So you can't cookie cut and you know, expect prices and home sizes and home styles to be the same in one region than the other region. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you could give 4 pieces of advice to someone who is considering purchasing a home, what would it be?
Well, pay your bills on time. Right. Save. That would probably be the most important thing is save. If you're thinking you got a 1-year, 2-year plan and you want to be a homeowner, save everything you can. Save your tax return. You know, instead of spending a couple $100, or instead of this weekend going to the mall, getting you a nice outfit and then going out partying, or you know, or taking a trip, spending $1,500 on a trip, you know, sacrifice that for a year, 2 years. Because it really all comes back to lenders. They are the linchpin. Without lenders, you not buying a house.
Yeah.
Without lenders, me as a realtor, I'm not getting paid. Without lenders, sellers aren't selling their houses. So you really want to think about, put yourself in their shoes, and they want to look at you as a good credit risk.
Right.
So you, the more you have in savings, and this is another myth, right? So people think just because you have bad credit, you can't buy a house.
Wow.
So you can buy a house with a 580 credit score.
Whoa.
A lot of them go down to a 580 credit score.
That's crazy.
Most people, when most people ask me what do they need to buy a house, it's typically 620 if you want an FHA loan or those type of loan. But if you have a 580 credit score, you can buy a house, but you have to put at least 10% down.
Gotcha.
The more cash you have stashed, the better it is. Lenders want to see that you have at least 2 months reserves in your savings. So if you're buying a house, just keep the numbers simple. If you're buying $1,000 house, if you're buying a house that's $1,000 a month, they want to see $2,000 in your savings account.
Gotcha.
They want to know that if the economy messes up, if you lose your job or whatever, that you can make your mortgage payments for a couple of months until you get back on your feet or whatever. So, yeah, pay your bills on time. Save money. Know that your credit doesn't have to be perfect, but the better your credit is, a lot of times the the better ratings that you can get. And I guess there's 3 that I can think about. Besides that, just research different areas.
Gotcha.
And it don't hurt to every once in a while, call a realtor up and have them show your house for an area you like.
Wow.
Just the window shop, just to go through that, that process and start looking at homes, and you can learn a lot just by talking to knowledgeable, people. So, yep.
All right. Well, that's all I have for you. Tell the people how they can find you.
Well, y'all can hit me up 757-529-1648. My name is Arnold with Kansas Realty. I want to thank Page Productions for shooting this. I'm gonna put his information in the description on that if anybody's looking for a videographer, and that's that. I appreciate your time.
All right.